Hi, my name is Tom Cole. So today I'm going to talk about lead poisoning among children in Torreon, Mexico. The purpose of this presentation is to bring attention to the environmental justice issue of lead poisoning on children caused by the smelter plant in Torreon, Mexico. In 1981, a group of researchers conducted a few blood tests on children living in the smelter town Torreon. A 3-year-old girl named Julita blood tests showed 34 micrograms of lead per deciliter. Nobody cared back then. 18 years later, Julita had been re-examined. Test results showed that her blood lead level has nearly doubled, approximating the level that can cause kidney and brain damage. As a result, at age 22, Julita had learning disabilities, which might be caused by the chronic lead exposure. So what exactly caused the lead poisoning in Torreon? Here's the table of contents. First, I'm going to talk about the sources of lead emissions and its productions. Then there's a timeline for the company and related health issues, followed by a map depicting nearby settings. Then 2 studies findings regarding affected children. It turns out that the main source of lead emissions come from the mining and smelting company called Max Panels. There are 3 steps in the industrial processes. The sintering phase involves removing sulfur from lead ore using a hot air combustion process. Once the sulfur is removed, the lead is sent into smelter where it is heated at extremely high temperatures in order to isolate the pure lead from other metals and materials in the ore. Any remaining metals or other materials left after the smelting are removed during the refining process, all of which would generate lead dust and smoke. There are 2 primary circuits at METMAX. One of them is the lead-silver circuit, where lead-silver concentrates are processed to produce lead bullion, which would be further processed at the refinery, producing refined gold, silver, and lead. Therefore, lead bullion production is a good indicator of total lead emissions. Figure 1 shows the lead bullion productivity for the past 5 years. Although there were ups and downs, the production still grew over the years. Here's a pie chart showing the end products of lead-silver circuit. As you can see in Figure 2, gold production only accounts for less than 0.1% of total production, and silver only accounts for about 2%. Because the amount of gold and silver that would yield through the process is limited, the company would be incentivized to increase the total production. Table 3 provides a timeline of the history of the company and related health incidents in town. The smelter went fully operational in 1902 with little or no environmental controls. No one had noticed any problem until 1976. A research group discovered high lead concentration of lead in children's hair near the smelter. Still, no one really complained at this point. A year later, the company became the world's leading silver producer, surpassing Soviet Union. Their production kept growing until 1999. Mexico's EPA forced regulation on the company due to the unacceptable levels of lead in blood in 93% of children living next to the factory. A few months later, the restrictions were lifted because the EPA ruled that the company had met 95% of the environmental conditions imposed. Figure 3 shows the location of the smelter plant. There are 10 elementary schools within the 3-kilometer radius. I would assume that the students going to these schools had been impacted the most. A 1999 study revealed that the closer a school is to the smelter, the higher median blood lead level resulted in their students. Note that blood lead level is considered safe within 10 micrograms per deciliter. The data is consistent with my hypothesis about the 10 close elementary schools. So, did anything change after the 1999 EPA regulation? According to a follow-up study on lead exposure in Torreon, median and range of lead in blood concentrations were obtained at 0, 6, 12, and 60 months. Resulted in Figure 5 shows that there was an 89% decrease in the percentage of blood lead level, greater or equal to 10 micrograms grams per deciliter. To summarize the presentation, the first traceable lead exposure was found in 1977. That poisoning might have occurred much earlier due to lack of regulation. Despite the bad reputation with the local community, the company has been thriving since its founding. No official record for how many people have been affected by the poisoning, and many victims might have not been compensated due to lack of social power. So I think the key takeaway message for this is that the EPAs around the world should learn from this and prevent similar situations from happening again for the future.